This video should help you with writing decimals in standard and word form. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about all of the places that we have here. You notice there's a decimal place right in the middle. To the left of my decimal, that's always the ones place. When you have a number like 246 that does not have a decimal point is really right after there. So there's our ones, our tens, our hundreds. When we go the other way, because we went ones, tens, hundreds, we kept getting bigger by 10. So if we going this way from 100 to 10, we're dividing by 10. We're getting 10 times smaller. And from 10 to 1, 10 times smaller. So if we took a 1 and divided by 10, we took a 1 and cut it into 10 equal pieces, they would each be tenths. And if we took each of our tenths and divided it by 10, each piece would be a hundredth. And if we cut each hundredth into 10, each piece would be a thousandth. So that's going to be important to remember. On the right of our decimals, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. All right. We have a number that's written in word form here, 13 and 72 hundredths. Before we had big bloody commas that we used. We'll still use big bloody commas. If you see one of them, usually you won't in numbers that have decimals, but we do have the word and. And is our decimal point. So now we're doing our chunks. We got 13 and then here's kind of a tricky part. After the and, we're going to skip way down here to the last word because it's going to tell us how many decimal places we have after the decimal. Since we have hundreds, and remember there was tenths, hundredths, I know I have two spots there. And now I'm going to put my chunk in there. 72, written in the two-digit spot. That's 13 and 72 hundredths. Let's try another one. Big decimal point on and. Tenths tells me there's only going to be one spot after my decimal. So in front of my decimal point, I got 9. And I've got my chunk 4 to write in there. 9 and 4 tenths. Find the word and. It's going to be my decimal point. The end, I see thousands. So really that's tenths, hundreds, thousandths. So I'm going to have 3 spots after my decimal. Let's do the chunk before the decimal point, 206. And the chunk after the decimal point, 35. Oh, but look, I have 3 decimal spots, 3 places to fill in here with 35, so it's going to be 0, 3, 5. 206 and 35 thousandths. Looking for the decimal point. I notice I got tenths, hundredths. So I'm going to have 2 places after my decimal. My chunk before says 40. My chunk after says 12. That's easy to put in there. Moving on. 8 tenths. I don't see the word and. There's not a decimal point in this one, but I do see tenths. Oh, so really up here, this would be like saying 0 and because there's nothing there. So there's my 0 and 1 spot after for the 8 to go in there. 0 and 8 tenths, which also makes sense because I have an 8 in the 10th spot. 5 and 907 thousandths. There's my and. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. 3 lines after it. So my first chunk, I got a 5 before it. 907, written in 3 places. 907. 6 and 2 hundredths. There's my decimal point. Tenths, hundredths. Going to be 2 spots after. So my chunk in front. 6. That chunk in front is also the whole number part. And this part afterward is the decimal part. So I need to write a 2 in 2 spaces. I need 0, 2. I know we always talk about the 3-digit chunk. That's actually a 2-digit chunk that we need to put there because we're only going to the hundredth spot. 38 and 5 thousandths. There's my and. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. 3 decimal spots after it. So my chunk in front. 38. I just have a 5 to put in here, but there's 3 places. It's a 3-digit chunk, so I need 0.005. 38 and 5 thousandths. 96 and 5 tenths. Decimal and tenths. Only one spot after it. First chunk, 96. I need a 5 in the one spot. 96 and 5 tenths. Oh, it looks like it ran all the way across the board and ran off. It really says hundredths at the end, just so you know. 3004. Oh, we got a big bloody comma in this one. And 86 tenths hundredths. All right. I'm going to start with my decimal point there and get my two spots after it. And in front, I got a 3 and then a comma. 4 is my next part, and it has to be a 3-digit chunk. So 3004. 86 is going to go right there because two places, and then just to write 86 in. Most of the time when you have numbers with decimals, you usually don't have numbers up in the thousands and millions. 1 and 2 hundredths, there's my decimal point. 10 hundredths, two spots after. Got a 1 in front, and a 2 in a two-digit place. 0, 2. Decimal point, tenths. Oh, so I only got one spot after it. This is going to be an easy one. 7 and 8 tenths. What if we do it in reverse? All right, let's go for the whole number part. Just write it like you say it. 9. The decimal point was really the word and. Write this chunk. 3. And then you got to think, what's the how many places out did we come? Tenths. And that's it. Very important to get that down. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Do my whole number chunk. 12. Decimal points and. The chunk after is just 4. And then I got to come out tenths, hundredths. If I didn't have that 0 in there, the number would change to 12 and 4 tenths. So the zeros between numbers are always important to keep. They're holding place value for us. Whole number part, 6, decimal, and 245 in that chunk. And we came out to the tenths, hundredths, thousandths place. Give you one, you try it out. All right, kind of tricky because we usually don't say 0 and. So really I'm just saying 9 for that chunk, and it's in the 10th spot. 9 tenths. You try it out. We got a 3 in the whole number part, and 2, and it goes out to tenths, hundredths, thousandths. 3 and 2 thousandths. Whole number, 4, and this chunk is 65. And we got tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Last one. Try it out. We got a 2 and 7. We got tenths, hundredths. 2 places after the decimal. I almost forgot how to spell hundredths there. And this video should help you with writing standard and word form of decimals.